Hello. Welcome to Trendy Podfix. I'm your host, Jay, Pan, or Bean, whichever you prefer, or come up with a new name for me and put it down in the comments. Today I'll be reading Songs and Sweet Nothings by Orphan Account on AO3. It is a one-shot, Midoriya and Aoyama, the sea ship. It is a total of 833 words. Summary. Yuuga Midoriya has a little too much to drink one night. Being married to the #1 hero of Japan wasn't easy. It also wasn't easy living under constant surveillance after what happened. Whatever. It was a long time ago, and he hasn't done anything since. Not that he could even if he wanted to. With his record, he couldn't even get a job at an office, let alone as a hero, despite finishing school at UA. Old music played on his phone as he swayed back and forth to the beat. To the song playing on the radio, he hummed, pouring another glass of wine as the song went into full gear. Taking a drink, he stood up, dancing with himself to the song, literally called Let's Dance. He wished Izuku were there to dance with him, but the life of the #1 was busy. If you say run, I'll run with you, he continued to hum, spinning himself around and pretending that his partner was there with him. As he danced, he moved into the kitchen, putting down his cup and pulling out the ingredients for dinner. A simple pasta, since it was unlikely Izuku would join him that night. A lavish breakfast would be a safe bet to welcome him home. For fear your grace should fall, he paused as the backup singer sang the next line, then picked it back up. For fear tonight is all, he placed the ingredients on the counter, one by one, before spinning back around to take another sip of wine. Yes, he probably had a little too much wine that day. A full bottle by himself could be considered a lot, but he was happily enjoying his 5th glassful. Tomorrow he would definitely hate himself, but for tonight he was loving life. That was special enough not to regret his actions. Yuuga? A voice snapped him from his drunken karaoke, and the music suddenly fell into the background as Izuku came into view. Yuuga could melt at the mere sight of his husband, especially since he was drunk, but instead he danced his way over to the man and pressed against him. Izuku reached down, wrapped Yuuga in his arms, and picked the smaller man up. Yuuga wrapped his legs around the other before a shower of kisses rained down upon Yuga's face and neck. I missed you so much, Izuku whispered as he moved them to the counter where Yuuga was placed to sit. It was the only way he could be face to face with his husband. I missed you too, Yuuga hummed with a smile on his face. If I knew you were going to be home, I would have fixed up some dinner. He slurred his words slightly as he leaned in and pressed kisses to Izuku's face to repay the ones he had received. I think you had too much wine for that, Izuku murmured, head turning toward the almost empty bottle of wine. I'm fine. You must be tired from the day. Let me cook you a good meal and help you relax. The blonde hummed into the crook of Izuku's neck. If you don't stop and start drinking water, you're gonna hate yourself in the morning. Let's switch this. Izuku took the wine glass, which earned a groan from Yuuga. For this. He pulled away from him and grabbed a glass to fill with water. While Izuku's back was turned, Yuuga climbed down from the counter and wrapped his arms around him. That's tomorrow, though. Tonight I'm living it up, he said as Izuku placed the glasses down and turned around. Yuuga smiled, taking his hands and pulling him from the kitchen to the dining room where there was more space. Dance with me, Yuuga demanded, and Izuku was powerless against his demands. By now, a new song was playing, at last, the perfect song to slow dance to. They got into position and started to dance, back and forth, underarm twirl, extend, and retract. Around and around they went, swaying back and forth. Yuuga rested his head against Izuku's chest, taking a deep inhale of his scent. I was thinking back on things, Yuuga stated after a second of dancing. Izuku nodded. You've treated me so well despite what I did, he continued, and Izuku paused for a second before doing a little twirl. It was so long ago, Izuku stated, resting his head on Yuuga's. You were a victim, he confirmed. You are not a bad person. I should know. I have the pleasure of having the kindest, most thoughtful husband of them all, he whispered. When Yuuga didn't answer, he continued. It's been 5 years since we graduated, and the only thing I regret was that I wasn't asking you to be mine sooner. You're gonna make me cry, Yuuga stated, emotions weaving into his voice. Did I ever say how much I love you? Yuuga asked, and Izuku smiled. Only always. One more dance. As you wish. Alright, that was all for this fic. Sorry, I'm looking at stuff. Yeah, no, very short, very sweet, very fluffy. I love a good fluff fic, especially with how much angst I tend to read. But yeah, no, I'm sorry, it's just very cute. Ignore the photo I used. There aren't many of, like, just Midoriya and Yuuga. So, yeah. I'm pretty sure this one is from the actual anime, right? Yeah. I try to only use, either photos I've drawn myself or photos from the anime, as it's kind of really hard to, track down original artists and get their permission, with how much, like, reposting of fan art there is. And I'd prefer to, you know, be respectful with that type of stuff. Which is also why I do so many orphan account fics. Because I think I've said this before, but I do want to build up a steady base for fics before I start asking people. I feel like, yeah, I'm good at words. It's not like I do this all the time. Sorry, notifications. But yeah, no, what the fuck? What the hell? Mastermind shitty spin. What? Okay then. Sorry. So, make sure you jump on over to AO3 and leave a comment and kudos on the original fic, please. I'm sure the author would appreciate that if they look back on their abandoned works. Not really abandoned, orphaned. They orphaned it, so yay. There we go. Okay, go. Sorry. Wait, what? Wait. Ooh, all together now on 5. Izuku wasn't expecting to meet 4 other quirkless versions of. Oh, Spider-Man. Okay. Sorry. So, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful next 24 hours, or at the very least pleasant. Make sure you eat enough to keep your body nourished. That is very important. Drink some water, take medications if you have any, or vitamins. Get some sleep. I'm forgetting what else I say. Hygiene. Take care of your hygiene. That's necessary. And I, again, hope you have a wonderful next 24 hours. Take care. Bye-bye.